Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody out there is having a good day, and welcome back to another edition of Mental Mondays here. If you're new to the channel, Mental Mondays is sort of the club we got here. Once a week we talk about a lot of the mental aspects of life, a lot of the abstract things of life. Doesn't really have much to do with fishing a lot of times, but it's sort of a fun conversation to have. It's my favorite part of doing the YouTube videos, also the most difficult part, because a lot of times when you're dealing with the mental part of life and the more abstract parts of life, it's sort of difficult to verbalize. So sometimes it's hard to get through the video here, because a lot of this is coming to me as we're talking. But anyway, today's topic, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. We're going to talk about information silos. And if you're not familiar with that term, an information silo is basically a situation where it can be a lot of different aspects of life, but where people just get their information from a limited point of sources. And in doing so, they cut themselves off from a lot of alternative sources or differing points of view, which is not a good thing. It's not a good thing in any way, shape, or form. So we're going to get into that a little bit. A lot of the bigger information silos, in my opinion, are things like, politics, your worldview, your viewpoints on health, your viewpoints on money, your viewpoints on relationships. It can be anything. And a lot of people, I think probably the majority than not, they tend to get their sources from a limited amount of, whatever sources, however you get your information. And for example, let's talk about news, for example. One of the worst things that created an information silo was that in 1985, during the Reagan administration, they got rid of what's called the Fairness Doctrine. And the Fairness Doctrine had been instituted in this country for over 70 years, that basically required news agencies to deliver a fair and balanced non-opinionated delivery of the news. So, if they had to cover all sides, in other words, and they had to come across completely neutral. And after 1985, when that Fairness Doctrine was abolished, that gave birth to a lot of the division that you see right now in news and politics, where you have talk shows, you've got, news has become basically opinionated, one side or the other. And it's been a bad deal, because it's created a tremendous amount of division in our country. And also it has created a tremendous information silo within the news cycle, politics, and everything surrounds that, because a lot of people tend to get their world viewpoint when it comes to news from a limited amount of sources. And it's the same when you're talking about, like I said, managing your finances or your health or bass fishing information. It can be whatever with that. One of the things that I want to encourage here, guys, is try to branch out. If you think that you're in an information silo, and let's say, for example, news. Let's say if you get all of your news from maybe 2 or 3 different sources, and a lot of those sources may be tilted in one particular manner. Try branching out, whether it be, like I said, news or whatever, and try branching out and getting your information from some different alternative point of view. So if you've got, one position that you have, try to seek out some type of information from an alternative viewpoint from what you have. And that way you can sort of maybe get into the minds of the people that think like that, and maybe you come up with a better understanding of how everybody thinks. And the more information that you have from a wide variety of sources that you have, that gives you better choices to make. That gives you more of a diverse range of options to have in making your decisions in your everyday life. And one thing that I found out about information silos, and it can be anything, is that there's a lot to be said for mutual consensus and peer-reviewed consensus on a topic. In other words, if you got, let's say, for example, if you're talking about what's the best thing to eat for breakfast in the morning, and you get your news from, or you get your information from 1 or 2 sources, and they tell you cereal or whatever, and then if you branch out beyond that, somebody else will say, well, no, you probably need to eat something like oatmeal and, egg whites for breakfast in the morning. And once you start expanding along that information, and if you see other people making a mutual consensus of that, say for example, if you like cereal for breakfast, and you see 5 or 6 different sources that you come from agree with that, and then you see 50 different sources agree with oatmeal and egg whites as a better breakfast choice, that sort of gives you a pretty good indication from mutual consensus from a broad spectrum that maybe that's something you maybe need to look into. It's the same with anything. It can, like I said, it's the same with health. It's the same with finances. Same with different type of health issues, bass fishing, politics, whatever. It can be like that. But there's never comes any harm out of broadening your perspective and getting out of that information silo. It's a way to learn more. You learn more about the world around you. You learn more about other people. You learn more about yourself. And a lot of the information silos that we get into, we stay in those information silos our entire life, because if you're raised to think or believe in a certain way, there's a good chance that you will stay in that particular silo, just because that's where your comfort zone is. And it's only when you have a chance to break out of that comfort zone and experience some alternative points of views that we as a group of humans have a chance to expand and grow and become better people in a lot of different areas. And that's the good thing about it. It's like if you say for example you've got one particular point of view that you hold, and you start getting some alternative points of views, if you don't agree with that, or you see that your point of view is backed up by a good number of peer reviews, mutual consensus, that gives you even more confidence in the way that you're thinking. Or it might go the other way around. But anyway, regardless, guys, information silos are not good. They're not good in any way, shape, or form. I think that they limit people in a lot of different ways. I think they cause division. I think they perpetuate misinformation a lot of times. I think they perpetuate conspiracy theories, a lot of different aspects to that. So my advice to everybody from what I've seen out there is just, broaden your horizons out there, man. It's like whatever aspect, whatever part of life that you get locked into, doesn't hurt to step out of your comfort zone once in a while and sort of put yourself in the position to see how other people think and why they think like that. So anyway, guys, shoot me some comments. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'd be curious to hear, and much appreciated you guys tuning in this week, and we'll talk to y'all later. See you.